Well, time now is 7:25. Welcome back to Good Day Columbia. Happening tonight at sundown, many Jews across the nation in Columbia will observe Passover. It's a high holy day that dates back to biblical times. It's a holiday that helps to put into perspective the power of faith and endurance. Joining me now to discuss it is Rabbi Uriarte of the Tree of Life Congregation. Rabbi, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me. It's really great to be here.
We appreciate it. Rabbi, first let's start off with the historical backdrop of Passover. So why is this such a big deal?
So it's a big deal because, in a way, it's the first holiday of the Jewish year. Now, we think of Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, which happens typically in the fall. But if you read in the book of Exodus, we're going into the first month of the year. And so Passover typically happens 10 days after that, and it represents the freedom of the Jewish people from the enslavement in Egypt. And so much like other cultures that have said this is the day of our independence and we're going to start the calendar from here, the secular Jewish calendar, I guess you could say, would start from here, whereas the religious one starts later in the fall. But again, it's about this biblical / historical time period where, according to our tradition and our stories, we believe that we were liberated from enslavement by the Egyptians.
And so Passover begins at sundown, yes. And many of the Jewish holidays do begin at sundown. Kind of explain why not in the morning.
Yeah, so in the very beginning of the creation account in the book of Genesis, right, after every day of creation, it ends Vayhi Erev, Vayhi Voker, Yom Echad, right? So there was evening, there was morning, day one. And so based on that, Jewish tradition is that the days begin at sundown and end the sundown after, so which is the reason why the Jewish Sabbath begins Friday at sundown and ends Saturday at sundown.
I understand it. So for Passover tonight, Rabbi, you brought a few things. What do you do for Passover?
So Passover is really, really unique in a lot of ways among all of the Jewish holidays, because with most of the holidays, you go into a temple or a synagogue, you go into the sanctuary, you have a big prayer service. And you have that with Passover too. But with Passover, the central theme is almost like, I will jokingly say, like dinner theater. So the entire religious observance that goes on in our prayer book, instead of being in the sanctuary, is meant to be done at the table with friends and family, or like we're doing tomorrow night, a big community gathering at our synagogue.
Okay.
So you follow a prayer book as you would with any other service, but it's done almost like an interactive storytelling piece with the prayers mixed in with parts for everybody around the table to play in, like a very choreographed and ordered way that the dinner happens.
Gotcha. And for the final questions, Rabbi, I know that obviously there's been a number of attacks across the Jewish nation for so many people. You know, kind of speak to that and how this day, you talked about representing being free. How important is it to celebrate Passover?
It's important to celebrate Passover. Honestly, it's important to celebrate all of our Jewish holidays as communal and in community, because there's a Jewish law that basically says that, depending on your tradition, you have to have 10 people, sometimes only males, sometimes males and females, again, depending on the tradition, in order to do certain things in a service. Gotcha. So Judaism as a religion, as a practice, as a people, we're all meant to be communal. So what's important for Passover, or Pesach as we say in Hebrew, is that, as you said, there have been a really high increase of attacks in Jewish communities across not only the United States, but across the world. And so the ability for us to gather and feel safe, regardless of what we're celebrating, is vitally important.
Rabbi Uriarte of the Tree of Life Congregation, thank you so much for coming and spreading some knowledge for us and our viewers. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Absolutely. Folks, timer now is 7:29. Still ahead on Good Day Columbia. We're talking about birthright citizenship. Our Barlise Pimentel will have the latest. Stay with us.